Okay, good afternoon, Facebook. Oh, good evening, Facebook. Good evening, everyone. Let me apologize for coming out late today. It's really been an hectic day, a very, very hectic one. But thank God it's wrapping up very fine. I was almost thinking of pushing this till tomorrow, but I said that I missed some. I was able to pick some. Thank you very much for checking out on me. Thank you so much. I have everybody in mind, but I've been locked in the meeting for some time. And well, it's as a result of what we do here, which brings me to appreciate everyone that is that has stayed tuned, that has been a part of this, that has encouraged us, thus far. Thank you so much to everybody. What we are doing here is spreading fast, and then it's bringing in what I call it now, some positive change and impact. So I thank everybody. Thank you so much for spreading the word. Thank everybody as you are joining in. Please share this video. Please share the video. It's going to help to spread the information faster. Thank you, Babalola Kemi. Thank you, Samson, for joining me. Thank you so much. Today we are going to be looking at two things together. Hey, bros, Shamel, thanks for joining in. We are going to be looking at two things together today. Quickly want to look at child rights, to inheritance after the marital status of Chimeze. Thank you, my sister and colleague. After the marital status of the parents has been determined, and then I'm going to quickly look at child adoption rules and procedure in Nigeria. After the last broadcast last week, I had quite a number of people coming to ask me on this issue, because we touched on child rights. So, I said today we're going to go into some other important matters like employment issues, but I think I'm still going to have to stay around these child rights issues, discuss more of it, and then I'll go into administration of estate issues, because these things flow into themselves. So today I'll look at child rights incidental to divorce, and then I'm going to look at adoptions, rules and procedure. Now this is peculiar to Lagos, but I think that there will just be slight difference in other states, because Lagos is leading in setting the pace for quite a number of things in the country, and other states are taking cue from that. So first and foremost, I want to say, like I said last week, if you are going through a divorce proceedings, please do not make your children tools to fight. It is not, it is not advisable. It is not good. It is not professional. It is not in any way positive to what you are doing. Thank you, bros. It's not positive to anything that you are doing. So please take them out of it. And then another thing I want to say again today is that there is nothing like once the mother leaves, you disenfranchise the children. They are no longer yours. No. The law does not, how will I say it now? The law does not recognize any child called a bastard. There is no bastard child in law. There is no bastard. In fact, the issue is so, how will I say, the issue is so germane that even if your wife gives birth 9 months after you guys are divorced, you are the owner of that child. Is it not even up to a year? You will still be termed the owner of that child. So, child of the marriage when it comes to divorce issue is very, very germane. So, all these ideas, because I have people talking to me, once they left, their father said they are no longer his children, and all of that. The law does not, recognize there's no bastard child in law. And then the fact that the marital status of you and your wife is determined has nothing to do with the right of the children to you. Last week we looked at people fighting to have custody. Now we are looking at the extreme where particularly male now, where the male gender says that once you live with your children, that is it. They are no longer in my care. I don't know them. There's nothing like that. So if you die today, your children, even though your wife, you have legally divorced her, your children has right to your inheritance. So after your wife, which you have legally divorced, the next in line is your children. So they are not, by the reason of the determination of your marital status, the children are not disenfranchised at all, at all. The law does not recognize bastard child, that because you are no longer married to the mother, and so, you don't know them, that they're not your children. You're deceiving yourself. If you go ahead and marry somebody else, those children are still yours, and they are recognized under law. Now, the issue when people go ahead and cause chaos for themselves is that you now say you want to do a will. Then you do a will, you exclude these children. You are just leaving war behind yourself. You are just leaving war behind yourself. So we should learn to separate these sentiments. We should learn to set them aside. The fact that you are no longer married to your wife does not mean that the children are no longer yours, or that they do not have right to your inheritance or whatever you leave behind. Please, let us get this clear. Now, when I come up with these issues, understand that I am responding to issues that has been raised in my inbox. So that's the reason why I break them up, so that we can have a general overview, and then a wider number of people can understand these things to help them. I've had people ask me this question. Please, an order for divorce does not mean that it excludes or cuts off your children from you. I don't know how else to put it, but please, it is important. If you go ahead and make a will, you can exclude the name of their mother because you are no longer legally tied to her. Fine. You people have determined your marital status under the law. But the children, no way. So you don't go and do a will that is going to cause problem. We are in court for quite a number of wills that are not probatable, or rather they take them into probate, and then the father would not, consider them, and then the children are fighting up and down. Please, there is enough chaos in the land. Do not add your own to it, please. So, that's about that. Another issue I want to quickly look at is also the issue of DNA. Now, I know that has been trending on Facebook for a long time, but I missed saying it last week. Now, when because it's really happening, it's really these things are happening. When an issue of the paternity of a child comes up, maybe during divorce, and in any ways, it's when there is a breakdown. It only happens when there's a breakdown, the marriage is breaking down or has actually broken down irretrievably. That's when you now have the issue of the paternity of children coming up. Now, the law is that the medical test of a child, testing medically for the paternity of a child can be done when the child is a baby between the ages 0 and 2. You get such a child, based on the order of court, can be taken for a paternity test. But where they have grown above that age, there is a need for consent, and then that's the consent of the mother. So you don't just take a child. That's why I said all this people, they say they just go and do DNA. You don't just take a child and then go and do DNA. Nobody will do it for you. It doesn't work like that. It has to be with the consent of the father and the mother that the child will go for a DNA. I've known people that when they get to the middle of their divorce proceedings, then they claim that they're not sure that the child is theirs or their child is not theirs, and then they ask the court for an order for paternity test. At that point, it is with the order of court. And then, yes, once you go with that, you both, your consent is like, automatic. Once the court orders for a paternity test, the parental consent is like automatic. And let me use this to advise women. Denying the paternity test of a child is just giving yourself unnecessary problem. If you are sure, because I've had a situation whereby the woman claims that the man is the father of the child, and the court orders for paternity, and then you say no, and then you want this man to take care of this child. It's just unfair on your part. If you are indeed sure that the man you claim is the father of the child, then let a paternity test be carried out, particularly where the court has ordered this. So please, let's not bring the children in any way into this quagmire if you guys are going your way. Those are ways in which couples, when they are going through their divorce proceedings, try to make things very hard for their children. Please, you don't need this. Thank you all as you are joining in. I don't want to break this to be saying thank you, but please share this video. It's going to help to spread the information. And like I said, what we are doing here is making positive impact, and we are speaking to some authorities here and there that is going to help us to, bring what we are saying to a larger crowd. So please help me share this video as you are joining in. So child rights incidental to the determination of the marital status of their parents is what I've looked into. The children, they are not disenfranchised. It does not mean that because you have determined your marital status with their mother, they are no longer your children. No, there is no law that recognizes a bastard child. And secondly is that when an order for paternity for DNA is made, please, as a woman, allow this to be done. There's no need to stress the children. And like I said, where the court is the one who makes the order for paternity, then the consent of the father and the mother is no longer needed because the court has ordered it. But like I said also, if the child is between the ages 0 to 2, you can just take the child for a paternity test. It's recognized. But where is about 2, then the consent of the mother, whichever the person the child is living with, will be required to have that done. So that's about that. Yeah, the main issue or our main focus for today is to look at adoption rules in Nigeria. Thank you, Shonola, for sharing this video. Thank you so much. So we are looking at child adoption in Nigeria, the rules and the procedure. I'm going to be using Lagos State as a template. I've worked with Lagos State on quite a number of all these things, and then it has really worked. So I'm going to use Lagos State as a template. And like I said, Lagos State is setting the pace in a lot of these things. So if you go to other states in Nigeria, maybe you just have some slight difference because they just take the cue from Lagos State, and then, they take all of these things to work together. So first and foremost, let me say, because I've had a lot of people ask me inbox, how do they said that adopting children in Nigeria is hard, is like almost impossible, it doesn't work, blah 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 blah. I have had the privilege in my years of practice to at least see to a conclusive end about 3 adoptions, to a conclusive end from the beginning to the end. Now what I'm going to say is that understand that this process doesn't work at the push of the button, which is what a lot of people do not understand. You cannot want to adopt a child, even in Sena climbs, like we say now on Facebook. Even in Sena climbs, you are not going to walk into their office and you want to adopt, and in less than a week you are done. No, even in Sena climbs, quote and unquote, it doesn't work like that. So the same thing here in Nigeria, particularly Lagos. Yes, it may take some time, but then it is possible. It works. I have people that I've worked with and they have the children today, well and fine, no chaos or disturbance whatsoever. Thank you, Mercy, for joining. So let me state that it doesn't work. Adopting a child in Nigeria doesn't work by the push of the button, like it does not do the same in Sena climb. So once you have that at the back of your mind, another advice that I give to people is that you put these things into plan. If you know you want to come and adopt a child in Nigeria and you're not living in Nigeria, or you are living in Nigeria and you want to adopt a child in Nigeria, please have a plan. I say set it over a period of about 9 months. You have planned yourself that, okay, starting from July, like we're going into July, starting from July to December, by February, you're beginning to see in fact, it's a progression thing, particularly if you go correctly. So you must put this thing over a period of time for plan. So you put them in plan. So you don't just wake up today, you want to adopt today, and then you think you can just walk in there and then it happens in 1 month. No, it cannot happen in 1 month because there are procedures. The rules that guide adoption in Nigeria is regulated by the Nigerian Child Rights Law, and then we have the Adoption Act of 1965. Now, the predominant law that is being looked at or being used today is the Nigerian Child Rights Law. The Adoption Act is there. but it's going through a reading process for a lot of amendments to be able to fit into the present day, civilization that we have. And so things are working on it. But in Lagos State is using the Nigerian Child Rights Law, and also we have the Child Rights Laws of Lagos State that is guiding this thing. Now, in Lagos State, we also have this the issue of adoption being managed by the Ministry of Youth and Sports, and I think they've added women empowerment to them or something now. So it is the social welfare. The Ministry of Youth and Sports and Social Welfare, they are the body that manages manages adoption in Lagos State. Also, preliminary for you to know is that the child to be adopted, that is allowed to be adopted in Nigeria, must be below the age of 16. Anyone that is above the age of 16 in Nigeria can no longer be adopted. And this is what affects siblings adoption. That, I have clients that are outside the country and they have their junior sisters' children, that they want to adopt and take to the US. Now, once they are above the age of 16, you can no longer adopt such a person. What you can do is to become such a person's guardian. So we'll file for you to be the person's guardian, and then with the guardianship approval and order and papers, such a person can also travel abroad. So most predominantly is that a child that is going to be adopted in Nigeria is going to be below the age of 16. Then, if you are going to apply to also adopt a child in Nigeria, there's also the age limit. You have to be above the age of 20. You have to be at least 25 years old. So anything below 25 years old, you are not going to be allowed. Anyways, I don't think anybody below 25. In fact, where is the 25 that wants to adopt? The person is even still under parental care. So that's by the way. So at least you have to be age 25, because there must be at least 21 years difference between you and the child to be adopted. Now, the only people that are allowed to adopt in Nigeria are Nigerians. That is, you must be a Nigerian citizen, even though you may have the citizenship of another country, but you will be a Nigerian citizen. That is when you are like almost set and ready. So those are the basic understanding that we need to have about child adoption. Another thing is that you have to be gainfully employed to be able to adopt a child in Nigeria. And then I've had the question of single people are not allowed to adopt children in Nigeria. Yes, and the issue is that because of the present day dealings that we have, people, there's no way that a single a single person, whether male or female, will be allowed to single-handedly adopt a child and expect that the child will be properly taken care of. And this is majorly because under the Child Rights Law, the Nigerian child has a right to proper parenthood. That is, the child will be parented by the father and the mother. So that is why it is like very hard, like almost impossible to have a single person adopt a child in Nigeria. So what happens is that you would be a couple. Thank you, sis, for joining. So there'll be a couple, that will present an application. You go to the ministry. There's an application. It's already made. You pay the prescribed fees, and then you get this done. I'd already done a scheduled post for this, and then after this broadcast, I'm going to put the post out so that we can be able to read, all of these things in Nigeria. So as a single, there is if you really give a very convincing purpose, because even after you apply, you will still go through an interview process and all of that. So if you are able to convince the panel, there's a possibility. But if you ask me, have I done for a single person before? No, I've had to do for couples, and then, like I said, I've been able to execute 3 from the beginning to the end. I still have some that is ongoing, So those are the basic things that you need to no, your chances are high if you apply with a spouse. Your chances are so high. So what other things you need to know is that, hey, thank you, Akinyola. Thanks for joining in. It's been a while. So what are the documentations that you need to apply for child adoption in Nigeria? You need your own birth certificate to show that you were born here, and then to be able to explain your age. You need your marriage certificate if you both are married. If you are divorced, you need a divorce decree. You need to show that to the panel. Then you need to prove your Nigerian citizenship. Then you do that maybe with your national ID card or with your international passport. And then if you have the citizenship of other countries, you also put that along. Then you must show proof of employment, your financial documentation to show that you are you are gainfully employed and that you have money, you are being paid salary. And then you need also a police report to show that you have no criminal record. So basically, these are the things that you need to put together when you apply. The list will be given to you of the basic documentations that you need. But really, that's just about around everything that I've said. So the steps you need to take in adopting a child in Nigeria, I tell people, please consult your legal practitioner. It is important. This is not what you can do by yourself. And of course, if you think you want to do it yourself, why not? Because at the end of the day, you are still going to need your legal practitioner to be able to apply for the adoption order for you at the end of the day. So it is better that you speak to a legal practitioner that is that is experienced in this area to be able to guide you through this process so that you can have it easy and done. You go to the Ministry of Youth and Sports, which is the one that is overseeing it in Lagos. And I know the same thing applies to some other states as well, but you go to the Ministry of Youth and Sports and Social Development. They are the ones in charge of it in Lagos. The application is available at a prescribed fee. Thank you, Damala, for joining in. They have the prescribed fee for the application. You apply. Once you apply, you submit the application back with all the documents I've earlier mentioned, and then the process of having you come for an interview. Now, what does this interview entail? They want to know why you want to adopt. They want to be able to review your documents with you. It will go around for approvers to see that, okay, that the information that you have given are indeed very correct. So when you are through with the interview, I think the Commissioner for Youth and Sports is always on the panel. And then they have the PS, Permanent Secretary, that is in charge of adoption and social welfare, who is also on the panel of the interview. So they just ask you, they want to know why you want to adopt, And let me say this, that adoption is not just for people that have not given birth to. I know people that have given birth to about 3 boys and they want a girl, so they adopted a girl. Because they weren't ready to try again, so they adopted again. So don't limit your mind to adopting because you don't have a child. Yes, you can, but also you can add to your other children too if you want. So upon satisfactory performance at the interview, when you satisfy the interview panel, you are issued with a letter of approval. Now, what that means is that they give you an approval to be able to adopt. That means that you have been approved as an individual that is eligible to get a child for adoption. You see, all those things that we are saying, you see now that you can understand why time here is of essence. You can begin to see how that it cannot happen by the push of the button. You apply, you submit your documentation. Thank you, Sheon, for joining in. You apply, you submit your documentation. It is taking, all the information are checked to ensure that you have given the correct information, and then you are now scheduled for an interview. Now, understand that you are not the only one in this process, so there are other people that are also queued. So as it were, plus or minus, before you are able to get interviewed, let's look at a space of about 3 months. Say you apply July, expect to be interviewed by, say, September. And then hopefully you satisfy the panel. Then when you satisfy the panel, of course, you are issued with a letter of approval. Then we now start the search for the child, because children are not kept at the Ministry of Youth and Sports, no, but they are registered orphanages. So then we now start the search for the child that you would like, that you would want to adopt. So that search also, we work with a social worker, because once they issue with a letter of approval, they assign your case file also to a social worker. Now you and that social worker goes, together with your legal practitioner, if you want, goes about to the different registered orphanages to be able to check for, a child that is available for adoption and that meets what you also want. After that, there is a probationary period of 3 months. It's a bonding period. That is, you are expected to use that period to bond with the child. You go to visit the child at the orphanage. You ensure that you have bonded with this child. So all this period, the social worker that has been assigned to you is putting up his report to see how the child responds to you, to see how you treat the child, to see that, okay, you guys are bonding very well. And you see, these things are very, 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 very emotional. I remember I followed one of my clients the other time, and then she saw this girl, and then she had picked her, very lovely kid like that. And the bonding period was even faster. Before we knew it, the social worker was like, do we even need to wait for 3 months? Because you guys are really bonded. She doesn't want her to go anytime she wants to leave her at the orphanage here and there. Today she's how old will she be now? I think she's about 5 years old now. And then if they don't tell you, you won't know. So these things are very, very emotional. If you give your time to it, like I say, put it in plan. You want to adopt, it does not happen by the push of the button. Make sure you have it in plan, at least 9 months plan, so that you can put it there so that these things, can work. Please, if you have questions around these things, ask your questions as we go on. So once you are issued with the letter of approval, you are assigned a social worker. Once you are assigned a social worker, you go around the orphanages to be able to get the child you want. And when you do, there is a 3 months probationary bonding period between you and the child. Once you pass through that 3 months, then the social worker puts up a report, send it back to the ministry, and the ministry now says, okay, they understand that you guys are bonded and all of that, and then now send you back to the family court for the court to make an order of adoption. And then they make the order for adoption. That means you can now take the child home from the orphanage. This child now literally becomes yours. So you take the child home. And then the work of the social worker does not end there, because we need to ensure, the states need to ensure that the children are properly taken care of. It's not like you have just done all of these things up to this stage to get the child and then you're out of the country. No, it doesn't work like that. So there's another 3 months that the social worker will be using to visit your house to confirm that the child is is acclimatizing, if you can use that word, with this our new home, getting used to you. There's no crisis, no problem, and all of that. So after that, you get a final adoption order. When that is given to you, you can then now go ahead and get a new birth certificate for the child, which now bears your name. And then if you now have other citizenship you want the child to bear, or you want the child to be, you want to take the child out of the country, then you now begin to make, the process. So basically that is how adoption works in Nigeria. It does work, because some people have told me like it's not possible. It does work. It is possible. The only thing is that you need to put time to it. You need to commit your time to it. And like I said, at least 9 months. Adopting a child in Nigeria does not work by the push of the button. And I'm sure it does not also work like that in saner climes, quote and unquote. So you need to, put your mind to these things. So that's about that on adopting a child. I'm going to put up the, I'm going to put up the posts that is really going to explain this in depth, so that you can be able to take in the information for those that are just joining, or those that are going to, watch this video later. So I'm going to put up that post after now, so that all of us can follow. So thanks so much. It's been an hectic day, like I said when I started, but at the same time, let me thank everyone who's been a part of this, and for spreading the news. Like I said, I was held up in a meeting as a result of what we do here. So, and then the good news is going to come very, very soon, very, very soon. So let me say thank you to everyone again while I try to round up. Nobody is asking questions, so I believe that we are all clear about this. But if you have any question, you can still ask me in my inbox. And don't forget, please look out for our page, Ask the Liquid Practitioner, on Facebook. Drop a like for what we do, and there are a lot of other informations there that can help you. I also said, please send all your questions to Ask the Liquid Practitioner. I'm sure a lot of people that has used that this last week can testify to the fact that it is very fast and prompt. You send in your question in less than an hour, you get an answer to it. So please, let's use Ask the Liquid Practitioner more. It's really going to help us. Does foreigners have to go through the same process? As a foreigner, before you can adopt a child in Nigeria, you have to be married to a Nigerian. You must have a Nigerian descent. You cannot be... Foreigners are, in fact, they are so stringent. Yes, they give foreigners, but it must be that perhaps you have been married to a Nigerian, so because it's under the law that Nigerians are the ones allowed to adopt from Nigeria. So I hope I've answered your question. As a foreigner, it is perhaps that it's either you have naturalized or that you are married to a Nigerian, of course, which by marriage you have naturalized. Then you and your partner can then, apply to adopt a child. So I think I've answered that. So like I was saying, please check out for our page, Ask the Liquid Practitioner, on Facebook. Use our send a message or ask the question link there. You are likely to get your question answered very fast. So, and they are Americans, they are not Nigerians. Ms. Adedamola, those families, are they Nigerians or they are Americans or they are black Americans that came to Nigeria to adopt? You need to be clear about that. So, Ask the Liquid Practitioner, check out the page, give us a like for what we do. There are a lot of resources out there that are going to help you. And then you can always send your questions. Not Nigerians, and they came to Lagos to adopt. I doubt so. I doubt so. So that's about that. So I'll quickly do a recap and then I'll round this up. I said I talked about child rights incidental to divorce. I said that there are no... okay. Now I get you. They are willing to... really, it's a bit tight now because Nigerians self, they are queuing. Not to talk of those are non-Nigerians, So it's a whole lot of work. And I can guarantee that it's going to be like very hard, So that's that. So the fact that you have determined your marital status with your wife has nothing to do with the rights of your children to your inheritance. Please put this at the back of your mind, that the fact that you have divorced your wife does not mean that your children does not have access to your inheritance. So if you go and write a will and say you disown your child, you do this, you are just causing trouble, or you'll be dead, and the children here will be fighting over, all of these things. So please save us, ensure that our cost lists are reduced. Let's all do what is right. It will help us. And the law does not recognize anybody as bastard. There's no bastard child in Nigeria or under the law. There's nothing like that. In fact, the law is that if you divorce your wife and she gives birth 9 months after, you are still the father, until proven otherwise. So it's so wrapped around your neck as the man, some people fought me in my inbox when I was telling them, but there's nothing you can do about it. That's what the law is as we still speak. I also quickly spoke about DNA. I say that you want the paternity of your child, you want to question it, maybe while the divorce proceeding is ongoing. Yes, you can ask the court, or an order will be made, and once the court makes the order for paternity to be carried out, the consent of the father or the mother is no longer needed, because the court has ordered it. But where it is not by order of court, where you are the one who wants to know whether it's your child or not, and the child is living with the mother, you cannot just go and take the child and take the child to part care and say you want to do, but the mother has to consent to it, so that you both would be able to witness what is going on. So that, and then I've said that I've looked at adopting a child in Nigeria and using Lagos as a template, the things that you need to know. I'll put up that post after now so that we all can read it. Thank you so very much for the time. I really, really appreciate everyone who has joined in. We'll continue this next Thursday. Next Thursday, I'm going to be talking about administration of estates, because I've had a lot of questions around that. A lot of people just fight. Nigeria is hard. There's no need for us to make it harder. As I round up, there's no need for us to make it harder. Try and choose your battles. You want the marriage to end, let it end peacefully. Carry your life along, at least if nothing else. Let's not make things hard for ourselves. Yes, I know sentiments, I know emotions move up and here and there, but we can make it easy, going forward, so that it's going to help every one of us. Whatever you miss, don't use marriage to miss heaven. There is no marriage in heaven. And then whatever you lose, don't lose eternity, So those things are important for us to consider while you are choosing your battles here, on earth. So thank you very much. It's been a wonderful time, and I'm so happy I could make it, because it's really been an hectic day for me, but I'm happy that I was able to make this. So see you guys again next week. Thank you. Keep the questions coming. I love you. Bye.